Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to start and scale a thriving virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 101, No Rollovers.
No rollovers, guys. Hashtag no rollovers. I want everyone to have this embedded in their brain constantly. Stop rolling over unused hours in your service plans. I think, and you probably agree, Joe, that this is probably one of, not the only, but one of the biggest service plan mistakes we see virtual assistants make.
And it's actually it's kind of okay if you do it a few times when you're first starting out and you've got like one or two clients. But if you keep doing that, like you may think, oh, it's fine, it's innocent, there's no worries there. But if you keep doing that, you are going to have some serious issues later on. So our advice is to start as you mean to go on and be very firm on no rollovers.
Yeah. Now, there's going to be listeners, Joe, going, well, what do you mean no rollovers? If they don't use any unused hours, aren't I then stealing from them? Like, it just seems wrong. Like, how are they going to be okay with this?
There's things that you can do to avoid this happening, right? And it can't just be that, they didn't use the hours, they didn't give me anything, so like I'm just gonna charge them anyway. You have to have actually had conversations with them and made attempts to get that work out of them.
Yeah.
But it's not, you have to reframe this, because it's not like you're stealing from clients or it's like unethical to charge them. You have to, because you had that space available in your week allocated to them and you didn't take on other work because of that. Like you had it available.
It's the service plan itself. It's basically another word for a retainer, isn't it? I know there's virtual assistants in different countries that actually refer to them as retainers. They're retaining you to keep that amount of hours free for them. If they then don't choose to use it, keeping in mind that we're going to assume that all that communication's done and you're checking in with them and you're letting them know throughout the month how many hours they've got left. If at that point they still have unused hours, then that's on them, right?
Oh, absolutely, it's on them. This is not something where you just like leave them to their own devices and just, never communicate, like you say. This is that you've done everything you can, and now they haven't used the hours, they haven't got organized. It's on them, and you're available. You have to charge for that. You have to value your time and teach your clients to value your time as well. And rolling over hours is saying, it's fine. Don't worry about getting organized. Don't worry about giving me the work. It's all fine. And you do not want to get to that position.
Yeah, so let's talk about the why you don't want to get to that position, like the knock-on effect in terms of like, number one, like having or not having a predictable income, thinking that you've got this many hours that you're going to work and this is the money that you've got coming in.
Yeah.
That's really, really important. So if you've got multiple clients that are all over the show and you're rolling over, I've seen some virtual assistants not just allow unused hours roll over 1 month, but like indefinitely. How's that going to work when you've got multiple clients or fully booked?
Exactly. And then you have this huge liability where you might owe a client 100 hours. Like, then you're going to do 100 hours at some point, or need to do 100 hours at some point, and not get paid at that point that you're doing those hours. So you don't want liabilities like that building up in your business. It's terrible for cash flow. So make sure you put things in place so that you can avoid this happening, and you have a very firm policy of no rollovers. Making sure that in that handover session that you have with them, talking about like, what are the nice to do projects? If I've done everything else and there's spare time in the service plan, let's have a chat about some things that, aren't urgent or a priority, but they would be nice to do. And then you have some kind of backup options that you can do if they don't give you other things, or
That's
you know.
such a good idea. Such a good
Mm.
idea. Like, it's not just a financial kind of liability that you have having this kind of rollover policy allowing it to happen. It's also a big scheduling kind of backup that you could have, right?
Yeah, it's if you then have all this, you owe them 20 hours and you then get some more clients and you get fully booked, you're not going to have the space to be able to do the 20 hours because you already, have those hours available for other clients. And then you become overbooked, but you're not getting paid at that time. Like, there's all sorts of issues. You want it to be really nice and consistent, right? I can schedule this work in at this time because I know that I'll have that time available and I'm not trying to use up hours,
Yeah.
those rolled over hours.
Now, this is an unreasonable request to make of clients signing your contracts. This is nothing new in the business world. This is not something that we're just telling virtual assistants to do because we think it's a good idea, right? It's a best practice strategy.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And you'll be well respected for having this kind of boundary in there as I'm a serious business owner. These are my terms. These are my expectations. And then the client is like, right, okay, I'm not going to get rolled over hours. So we've had this conversation. I'm going to make sure now that I use these and I communicate. So you're training that client to behave in the way that has you be able to deliver really awesome services and have a great virtual assistant business. So, like, this is just all part of being a serious business owner.
Yeah. And if you've got a lead that's questioning this when you bring it up, or they see it in your contract, or you're talking about it before they've signed on the dotted line, red flag alert.
Definitely a red flag. Because you want to be communicating this in kind of multiple places. So make sure you talk about it in your sales calls with them when you're discussing how it all works. Make sure that it's on your website, or little like terms and conditions where you have your prices. Make sure it's in your contract, your service agreement, your terms of engagement, whatever you call that. And then make sure that you're having those regular updates with the client. You're letting them know, this is where we're at with ours, this is how much we've got unused, so that they're fully aware and you've done everything you can as a really responsible business owner.
Once again, communication. Communicate, and then communicate some more. Communicate until you feel like you are a broken record.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if after all of that, the client still ends up with unused hours at the end of the month, despite all of that planning and proactiveness and communication that you've made, well, then that is on them. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the VA Foundry website to check out the Members Club and the amazing resources, training, and coaching.
You can find us at thevafoundry.com.